So my name is Terry Davis, and I was a volunteer on the Berkshire Carousel. I did a lot of the painting on the carousel, both with the horses and the panel paintings. I was one of a whole big team of artists that came together. Building a horse took thousands of hours, of man hours. Boy, it's hard to estimate what one horse would take. When the carving process was very long, it seemed to take a long, long time for a horse to be carved. And they were carved in sections, not in one solid piece. So you had the body block, the neck block, the head, and the legs were separate. So once they got that pretty carved to almost finished, they would begin putting them together and then finishing off a blend with the carving. And then you would begin to sand the horse once he was glued together, and that took quite a long time. So we would sand the horse till it was very, very smooth, and then the horse would be put in primer. So we would begin a priming paint process. In between layers, keep sanding until the horse had a nice smooth finish. And then we would then begin the artist colors, the paints, that would make the horse bright. Myself, I can speak for me, it was an amazing chance to learn and to honor some artists that were really amazing, and work with other artists of today too. That was amazing, very fulfilling. And so when I look at it, I am very proud, number one, and excited to see the kids enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Morgan Davis. I am a retired union carpenter, husband of the well-known carousel artist Terry Davis, and she is the reason I was drawn to this project. After she joined and I saw her enthusiasm and her passion, and we have grandkids now, and I saw how excited the kids are to ride it, and it really inspired me to help out any way that I could. I will take on the position of the CMM, the Certified Maintenance Mechanic. It'll be my obligation to inspect the ride. Every time this ride runs, I must inspect it, and that's about an hour-long procedure. Looking for loose parts, looking for, if I happen to just find a nut on the floor, I have to identify where that came from before we can run. There's also a maintenance schedule. As you can see, there's all these gears and cams. There's a very disciplined greasing process to all of that, and I need to do that on a regular basis. The initial first grease we did after it sat for 5 years took us 6 hours and 6 tubes of grease. Literally every moving part on this either has a grease fitting, or as I explained with the inner gears, the open gears have to be greased by hand with like a paintbrush. Pistons have to be greased. There's cups in the floors, the holder cups that hold the horses in place. All of those have to be taken apart and greased. You want to make sure everything's greased well, but you also don't want the grease dripping and landing on people's heads. Really cool safety features that, just because people lived long ago doesn't mean that they weren't smart in figuring things out, obviously. And they put these bearings on top of the framing members. If anything ever sticks, like if one of these pistons ever sticks, the machine's gonna keep going. It weighs 10,000 pounds. And if the piston's stuck and the cranks were still going, it's gonna start snapping these pieces of lumber. So they put these bushings up there called pillow bushings, and on top of them is a little clip. So when never happened before with us, but if a piston stopped, those springs are gonna pop off. The machine's gonna go around once more before it stops, but at least you're not gonna have a catastrophic failure of framing members snapping and breaking and destroying the machine.
the Berkshire Carousel project was developed by Jim and Jackie Shulman. And the goal was to create a wooden carousel, like the carousels of old. And there was a heyday to that time period where the wooden horses were carved by different companies. So Jim's idea was to have the Berkshire Carousel represent all the different styles of companies' horses on the Berkshire Carousel. So an example of that is Callie, our armored horse, which represents the Loof company from back in the heyday. And so we designed the blueprint to match one of the Loof horses. And the armored horses were the lead horses, usually, on these wooden carousels. So the original horse that we based Callie on had a bull figure here on the axe. When we designed our horse, it incorporated different elements that the sponsor allowed to be on the horse. And this one has a cat named Callie, which belonged to Jim and Jackie Shulman, and the sponsor said it was fine to put their cat on the axe. So it has personal touches, and these ideas would be incorporated by the sponsor who paid for each individual horse. Another example of our stylized horses is Sam. And Sam was modeled for the Philadelphia Toboggan Company. And that company also designed the Holyoke Carousel. And of course, it's a complete Philadelphia Toboggan Company carousel. But Sam is an identical replica of one of the examples from the Toboggan Company. So he's pretty much done exactly like the one from that company. So as an artist, we had to design a blueprint and replicate the horse as best we could to represent that factory. And Sam is a pretty close version of that style. When we came in as volunteers for the project, we had to have an education on all the different companies and learn exactly how those carvers built these horses. So it was quite a daunting endeavor, let's put it that way. Apple Harvest was a special horse designed by Sue Edwards, Sue Burns, and Nora O'Keefe. They worked on this beautiful example of a Parker-style carousel horse. And they did a great job with the sponsor designing the apple in the horse's mouth and these elaborate designs on what we call the trappings, and that is everything the horse wears. They did an outstanding job carving and painting this horse, but it shows where this horse is an example of it having more detail than the original horse it was based on. This horse, Magic, is one I was fortunate enough to be able to design him. And our sponsor was Macy's, and we have their logo on the horse. And he is designed after Dare style from the Dare company. And that was a very early carousel company. And the sponsor of Magic happened to have a horse named Magic. at their riding school. And he was a therapy horse that this horse also represents, which is interesting. So we used his original colors of the live horse that it symbolized. And Macy's, when they came in to sponsor a horse, wanted to sponsor the horse because its name was Magic, and that had meaning to them. The Berkshire Carousel is the only wooden carousel carved to represent all the companies of the heyday of carousels, and that makes the Berkshire Carousel a one of a kind.
Kelly and I want to thank you for a wonderful season this year. We hope you come back and see us next year.